This is Audible. On this night, in the very depths of hell, the witch Angelique will be given a choice: to undertake a dangerous mission into the past, or to surrender her claim on life forever. Soon she will learn that history is but a fiction, told by the winning side, while everything else lies forgotten and lost to the shadows.
Angelique?
Where am I?
A conduit between the worlds.
So very dank and dusty.
Only a few souls ever visit. For most, the journey to hell offers no option of return.
You have other plans for me, Dark Lord?
You are always the most able of my servants. Resourceful, inventive, passionate.
My lord is too kind.
But not the most loyal.
Well, I can be loyal. When I choose to be.
We shall see. Look into this glass.
I see the outline of a great house.
The first Collinwood.
I was so young then.
The cradle of the Collins family.
It was Barnabas's home.
Your lord and lover. The man you turned into a monster.
Must we speak of him?
This is my domain. Do you think you get to turn away from pain?
Barnabas is part of me. I can never turn away.
Such a frustrating family. So much potential for mischief. Yet every curse that is visited upon them they twist to their advantage. I look upon the vampire whose conscience pricks him every time he bites. The wolf who tames himself and wears the face of a gentleman.
They find a way to live with what they are.
And what of the witch?
I'm no Collins.
But you act as if you are. What is the last thing you remember before I summoned you back?
I was falling so far.
You gave your life to save them.
I don't remember. I won't.
Look into the glass again.
My face. So different. My hair. Black and long.
This is the form I have chosen for you.
Only my eyes are the same.
I cannot change your inner nature.
I'm too useful.
Careful, Angelique.
My apologies, my lord. What is your bidding?
I shall open a door, a gateway that leads back in time. You will step into a world where the stain of the Collins family is fresh upon the land.
And what would you have me do?
You will destroy them. You must find a way to unpick their lives from history's tapestry before they've even begun.
I won't do it.
What?
I refuse. I'm tired of doing your work, of going around and around in circles, helping you, and yet always returning here.
Then break the circle.
What do you mean?
Undo time's knot. Return to the source of the pain and cut it out.
You make it sound so easy.
It can be. All the death and destruction that flows from one family would be gone. If you return to the world above to do this service, well, then you would be able to live again.
You would do that for me?
It's already done.
You offer no choice at all.
Excellent. So you will go and do my work.
Hello there, my lady. Step back. It's not safe. Step back. I beg you.
I'm not a half-wit. I've no intention of throwing myself over.
The last storm tore at the cliff, cutting it away below. There's precious little holding up the path except a few trees.
I see.
A little further and neither God's love nor the devil's favor can save you. Here, take my hand.
That won't be necessary.
Have a care. Step lightly and quickly.
I can manage. Oh. Still, I must thank you for preventing me from exiting this world almost as swiftly as I entered it, Mr.
Abraham Harkaway, my lady, Master Mariner at your service.
Thank you, Mr. Harkaway. What is a Master Mariner doing away from his ship's deck? And dressed for town as well.
Even the most hardy sea dog needs to stretch his legs once in a while. Come ashore, do a bit of hunting, bit of visiting. Maybe even a little courting, should the mood take him.
Every dog must have his day. Don't let me detain you, Mr. Harkaway.
Forgive me, my lady, but are you quite well? When I saw you at the cliff's edge, I wondered.
This coast, it holds so many memories for me. I never thought I would see it again.
It's a cold, hard place. Not somewhere to be alone or defenseless.
I am not defenseless.
I meant no disrespect.
I see that you did not. But if you would like to be of assistance...
Name it.
Tell me how far to Collinwood.
Collinswood. I confess I don't know it.
How far back have I been sent?
I know the name well enough, mark you. None who works the seas around here could fail to. There's a village in the harbor that bears it, Collinsport, a little way around the headland. I haven't heard the Collins lay claim to the woods, mind, but give old Caleb time and...
Then it is to Collinsport I must go.
Very well, and let me guide you if you take the path that leads through the woods.
There's no need. One last thing, Mr. Harkaway. What year is this?
What year?
My experience on the cliff unsettled me. My heart is all aflutter.
And yet you seem to me as steady as a stone.
Indulge a woman's fancy.
As you wish. It's the year of our Lord, 1767.
Oh, so long ago. I really have returned to the beginnings of things. Well, thank you. I wish you good hunting.
Wait. If your heart is truly set on traveling on, at least take my lantern. Let it light your step.
I have no need.
My lady, please, take it. The night is drawing in and there are wolves abroad. You don't know what you might meet going through the woods.
None of us know that, Mr. Harkaway.
Oh, this journey is interminable. I'm quite worn out.
I'm sure it will be over soon, Mr. Sands. It can only be a few more miles.
I'm afraid Collinsport is somewhat in the wilderness. Most things have to come in by sea. A coach is quite a luxury.
Well, I'm not concerned for my old bones, you understand, but my goods, my supplies.
What in heaven's name are you transporting, Mr. Sands?
Oh, only the very finest of merchandise. Glassware from far Venice, exquisite tiles from Athens, paints and paper of the most fashionable kind from London. The treasures of the old world to illuminate the new.
How intriguing.
And one or two mysteries besides.
Such as?
Oh, a craftsman must be permitted some secrets. How else shall we perform our magic?
Ooh, you should avoid referring to magic, even in jest, Mr. Sands. The people of Collinsport may not be as sophisticated as the city folk you are used to.
Oh, forgive me. It was merely an image drawn from the world of theater. For what is a house except a stage, beautifully dressed and set for the great and good to perform their lives upon it?
How poetically you speak. And yet you tell me nothing at all.
Oh, it's no use interrogating Mr. Sands, my dear. Well, you should see him when he and Caleb get together to discuss plans for the new house. They're like two giddy schoolboys. We're so pleased you've agreed to join us. Joshua loves you, you know. So very much.
Whoa! Oh, good heavens, what now?
Is everyone all right, my dear?
I'm fine. What on earth can have happened?
Perhaps a horse has thrown its shoe. Or there may be a highwayman.
Goodness, how exciting.
Oh, we may have to defend ourselves.
Oh, calm yourselves, dear ladies. I will inquire. Ahoy, Loomis! What's going on? What's the delay?
Hey, I'm begging your pardon, sir. Someone stepped out onto the road. I had to pull the horses up sharp.
What type of man is it?
In point of fact, seems to be a woman, sir. Quite alone. Holding up a lantern.
Some shameless wanton, no doubt. Drive on.
Oh, please, let's not. She may be hurt or in trouble.
What are you doing?
Finding out if she needs help. Coachman, won't you ask her to step inside?
Madam, I protest.
Oh, hush, Mr. Sands. What harm can there be? Besides, you're here to look after us.
I'm so sorry to disrupt your journey, but I didn't know what else to do.
See, Malachi? She speaks like a lady, and is finely dressed, too. I'm Patience Collins, my dear. And who might you be?
Collins, did you say?
You've no doubt heard of us.
Why, yes, a little. I'm Cassandra. Cassandra Peterson. I was heading to Collinsport to meet my husband. His ship is due to arrive any day. I was on my way when I was set upon by brigands in the woods.
Good heavens.
Brigands? Who left you with your lantern and all your pretty clothes intact?
I suppose my clothes weren't to their taste. They took everything else.
How awful for you. Isn't it fortunate we were able to stop?
I'm sorry. Have we met before?
No, I don't believe so.
Your face in the light of the lantern's flame. For a moment, it seemed familiar.
My name is Laura.
What?
Laura Stockbridge. At least for now.
This young lady is soon to marry my son and become Mrs. Joshua Collins.
How nice to meet you, Cassandra.
Likewise, I'm sure.
I'm so sorry, Mrs. Peterson. My husband is proud of our little village of Collinsport. He would hate to think of an innocent traveler being waylaid on the roads. Perhaps if it would suit, you might spend a couple of days with us, at least until you recover and your husband's ship arrives.
What a kind offer, Mrs. Collins. And to a stranger, too.
Oh, not at all. No one shall doubt the charity of the Collins family. Drive on.
Yes, madam, right away. Giddy up. Yeah.
Laura, can it really be you? You look like the woman I fought, and yet you seem younger, innocent. Laura Stockbridge, hear me. I reach out to you with my mind, my fellow creature of the night. By all the powers of darkness, I conjure and adjure thee. If there is a servant of fire, if there is a vessel of Ra present, make yourself known.
It approaches.
I'm sorry, did you say something?
I didn't mean to disturb you. I simply thought you might wish to see there, on the hill.
Yes, do look. Through the trees. It's the house Mr. Sands has been working on with my husband.
Doesn't it sit well against the sky? Poetry in stone. Barely half-built and already imposing.
How big is Collinwood to be?
Collins' house, my dear. But what a pretty notion. I must mention that to Caleb.
There shall be a great hall, and a dining room, and several drawing rooms. Many bedrooms and all possible amenities.
Oh, it must be grand. There will soon be new life to fill it, I hope.
The cradle of the Collins family.
Why, yes, I suppose it will be. What a way you have with words.
It all begins here.
Laura, why so quiet? Aren't you impressed?
I'm just a little tired and maybe missing Joshua.
Oh, my precious child. We'll soon be home.
Good evening, ma'am. The family's waiting in the parlor, and there's a good fire going to warm you. Little Jeremiah's already abed. He's been a little feverish, but he'll be glad to have his mother home.
Thank you, Summers. Welcome to our home, Mrs. Peterson. Welcome to Anchor House.
What a charming residence.
Oh, it's a little rustic, perhaps, but it has stood us in good stead. Summers, this is Mrs. Peterson. She had an unfortunate experience on the road and will be joining us. Her luggage was lost, so you will need to provide for her.
Very good, ma'am. The boy will bring in your trunks and baggage.
I shall want to supervise. The contents of these cases are most valuable. More will be arriving shortly. Do you have an outbuilding that I can commandeer? One that I can lock?
But this is most irregular.
Oh, do indulge him, Summers, or we'll never hear the end of it.
Oh, very good, ma'am. But begging your pardon, ma'am.
What is it?
It's what with the wedding and the guests arriving. We're short of bedchambers as it is. Where am I to put Mrs. Peterson?
I don't want to be any trouble. My needs are simple.
Perhaps the maid's room will suffice.
Oh no, that would be absurd. She must share with me.
I hardly think.
I insist on it. Your husband is away, and I have but a few days left to me of widowhood. Wouldn't it be nice to be girls together?
Yes, that would be pleasant.
Then it's settled.
Good. Let's go in before we all catch our deaths.
Laura, my sweet, dear, sweet little bird. It has been too long. How I've missed you.
Joshua, it's entirely your fault for sending me away.
Now, for that, you must blame Mama. She insisted you would not be content to settle down in our quaint little village unless you had the latest fashions to parade in.
As if I want for such things. I could have dresses from Paris, laces from Amsterdam, and all I'd care for would be you.
Young woman, if I'd known you were so easily contented, we could all have been saved some coin.
I'm sorry, Caleb. That is to say, I'm sorry, Papa.
Caleb, don't tease the girl.
Oh, nonsense. Just an old man's folly. She's delightful. A credit to the Collins name. The beauty of the family.
Abigail, did you hear that? A challenge to your title.
I trust I have other virtues. Pretty is as pretty does.
Oh, interesting philosophy. Tell me, Abigail, don't you ever want to put aside your books and needlework and set your hands upon a man?
Don't be vulgar, Joshua. We have great hopes for your sister. We must simply decide upon the right suitor.
I hope I may have a say in this.
No more than is proper for my daughter.
Careful, Father, you'll rile her. Good looks so easily go bad, like milk on the turn.
Then I fancy yours soured years ago.
My, such a sweet face, such a bitter tongue.
Or perhaps a quick wit.
Patience, who is this? Surely not another of your waifs and strays.
This is Mrs. Cassandra Peterson. She'll be staying with us until her husband's ship comes in. It's all arranged, Caleb.
Cassandra? An intriguing name. Welcome. You're not here to prophesy doom for our little family, are you?
Even if I were, Mr. Collins, surely mythology teaches you'd be unlikely to heed my warning.
Another quick wit. And another beauty.
Joshua, I could become jealous.
I only have eyes for you.
What ship does your husband have passage on, Mrs. Peterson?
The Judah.
Never heard of it. And I know all the ships that come into my port.
Father prides himself on his knowledge, even if his port is, strictly speaking, mine.
Will be yours, sir, but not for a few years yet.
My papers were lost, along with everything else. The brigands.
Now, Caleb, don't upset our guest. Are we not taught to offer hospitality to strangers lest they are angels in disguise?
A dark angel, this one.
A most peculiar quotation, I've always thought. It seems to me disguise is usually more a trick of the devil.
You're not the devil, are you, Cassandra?
Just a traveler. a long way from home. And I'm afraid a little weary.
I've no doubt you are. Come with me, I'll show you to our room.
Leaving us already?
You'll see more of me, soon enough.
Good night, little bird. And good night, Cassandra.
Now, where is my man Sands? I want a good long talk with him. Why, I've been as good as a foreman in his absence, supervising everything. There are many things to discuss.
They weren't too fearsome, were they? The masked Collins is going to be rather a lot to handle.
I can imagine.
What did you think of my Joshua? He's very handsome, isn't he?
I didn't notice.
No, don't say that. You've no need to pretend. I know his eye wanders.
And you don't mind?
He can look wherever he likes, as long as his heart remains true to me.
Then you are fortunate. If you have both love and trust.
But you must have the same with your husband, Mr. Peterson.
Yes, I mustn't I?
My, it's so stuffy in here. How Summers can think that such a fire is necessary. Honestly, there's something infernal about that woman.
You don't wish to sit by it?
No, do you?
The Phoenix is a creature of fire. The Laura I knew drew strength from flame. Phoenix, hear me. I challenge you. Will you extinguish your very...
You know, I think I might open the shutters. There. Isn't that better? The splendid sea air.
Excuse me, ma'am? That's the last of your baggage.
Put it by the dresser, Sarah. And before you unpack, would you tamp down the fire?
Very good, ma'am.
We'll have to find you some apparel, Cassandra. I've more than enough. Do have a look through the cases.
Oh, I don't wish to be any trouble.
It's no trouble.
You're a good woman, Laura. Laura?
Such a strange bird on the tree outside. I've never seen anything like it.
Maybe it came in with one of the boats. Some seafarers keep them as pets.
Perhaps. Such bright colors.
There were all sorts of birds where I grew up. Feathers of every shade.
Singing to me, even though it's turned to night.
Where is it? I'd like to see.
Over there on the bridge.
Where?
Oh, it's flown. Never mind the bird, Cassandra. Here's intrigue for you. Who's that sneaking out of the house? There, in the cloak.
One of the maids, perhaps?
How wicked.
You girl. Sarah, is it not? Tell me, who is that figure below?
Well, I couldn't say, ma'am. It's not my place.
I should say that's Abigail. I'd stake my life on it. I wonder where she's going.
This family you're marrying into, Laura, I think it may have one or two secrets.
Good progress has been made, as you will observe from the plans. I have annotated each section as it is completed.
Oh, yes, I am most satisfied.
Oh, you are most satisfied. That's attitude. Anyone would imagine it was your house we speak of, not mine, sir.
Oh, forgive me. It is simply my enthusiasm for your great endeavor.
You say you managed to acquire everything we spoke of?
Oh, yes. Collins' house will be unique. In fact, there is one artifact I think you shall be especially pleased with. With your leave, sir, I'll bring it to you.
By all means.
I shall return directly.
Didn't you find that man a little unpleasant, Father?
No. A most able artisan.
There's something of the snake about him, if you ask me.
Tush. Another 6 months, a year, he will be gone. But Collins' house, it will stand for 100 years. No, 200 at least.
I sometimes think that house has intoxicated you.
And what if it has? The Collins name shall last with it. Little can be more important.
I'm thinking of the cost. These latest bills from Malachi Sands, a chandelier from France, perhaps, is a thing of beauty, but do bricks really need to come all the way from Holland?
Why do you complain? We can afford it.
Now we can. But perhaps I take a different view of the future.
Ah, I see the way of it. You have in mind to grow the fishing fleet.
Wouldn't that be wise while we have the resources?
It does well enough at the present. When you lead this family, you may decide differently, as will be your privilege.
You know as well as I do, Father, that tides turn and storms rise. We might be able to live in this gilded mausoleum you're building, but we won't be able to make money from it.
The sea may be an unpredictable mistress. But do I need to remind you? You are also about to take a wife. The widow Stockbridge is very charming. She is also very rich.
I am marrying Laura for love.
Then think yourself doubly fortunate, sir. You would not be marrying her at all if you didn't have my permission.
Cassandra.
Oh, I'm sorry. I didn't mean to intrude. I was having trouble sleeping and I heard voices. I wonder if your maids might prepare for me a draught of lavender or valerian.
Of course. All you have to do is pull the bell rope outside your bedroom. Come, let me show you.
I'm sure Mrs. Peterson can find the bell rope by herself.
Yes, thank you. Good night.
Father, that was rude.
Nonsense.
Do you think she heard us talking?
What does it matter? Family's what's important. Keep your eyes on the prize, Joshua. Keep your eyes on the prize.
Angelique Bouchard, what are you doing?
Oh, resting, my lord. It is night.
I did not release you from hell to sleep. I sent you to cause havoc. Why do you hesitate? Do they not deserve my wrath?
They are not without fault, but the mother, Patience, is kind. Abigail is quick, and Laura, she is not the person I fought lifetimes ago. Nothing is as I expected.
And what of Joshua?
He's just a man.
Must I show you your fate if you displease me? Do you think the blanket of sleepless smothering, it is nothing compared to oblivion? All alone, forever, an eternity of nothing. The void will consume you, and there will be no more Angelique. Is that what you want?
No. No. I will do as you say. I will do as you say. I will do as you say. I will do as you say.
Stay abed or don't stay abed. It's all the same to me.
Summers.
Lose yourself in the arms of Morpheus, if that's what suits you.
What time is it?
Gone midday. Mrs. Stockbridge bid me not disturb you, but I thought I'd best bring you tea.
Where is she?
Dressed and about her business. She suggested you might care to take a turn around the village.
Yes, that would be pleasant.
There's clothes laid out for you, and luncheon is set downstairs.
Thank you.
They say there's no rest for the wicked, don't they? But that isn't true at all.
What are you implying, Summers?
I'm keeping an eye on you, my girl, for those that take an interest. You know who my master is.
Caleb Collins is your master. And to hell with your impertinence. I shall speak to him.
He is not the only one watching you, Angelique. By sunset tonight, your resolve must change. The Collins family must be undone!
No need to clear your breakfast crockery, ma'am. The maid will be along shortly.
Cassandra, how nice of you to join me. Are you well rested? Oh dear, I see that you are not.
I have much to preoccupy me, Laura.
Of course. Your husband away and your experience on the road. But the sea air will calm you.
I'm sure it will.
Doesn't the harbor look pretty as a picture? The fresh painted boats, the fisherwomen with their baskets, the menfolk with their rugged beards mending the nets.
They must look upon us, all dressed up in our finery, and think we're the picture. Their lives are hard.
You are a mystery, aren't you? You speak as if you have suffered.
I've been with power and without. And I know which I prefer.
Power? What a strange way of putting things. Do you mean position, perhaps?
No, it's not the same thing at all. I was once the lowliest member of a household, and yet I still held power in my grasp.
You don't mean to say you were a serving girl and you had dalliance with your master?
I've shocked you.
Not in the least. We do what we must. My late husband, Mr. Stockbridge, he loved only gambling. He didn't care for me at all. Then one day, he won a game and angered someone he shouldn't have. He was stabbed through the chest. The luck of the Stockbridges, they said. After that, I learned to take nothing for granted. I decided I would only ever be with someone who truly cared for me. And if I found that man, I'd hold on to them at all costs, no matter what.
And Joshua is that man?
I'm certain of it.
He could have no other reason, no motive for marrying you.
Whatever do you mean?
I heard him talking with Caleb. They were speaking of their plans for the Collins house. It's a very costly endeavor.
You heard him say that's why he was drawn to me? The Stockbridge fortune?
I heard...
Yes?
No, Joshua said he was marrying for love. It was only Caleb who talked of money.
Thank you, Cassandra. That means a great deal to me.
We should probably be heading back.
Oh, no, I so enjoyed our talk. The thunder is miles away. May we stay a little longer?
If you like. Although I'm sure the weather's turning. I can feel it in my bones.
That magnificent blood-red sky, isn't that meant to be a good sign? Oh, look.
What is it?
My bird again. That beautiful bird with scarlet feathers. Flying above the harbor and over to the fields.
Your eyesight is remarkable. I don't see it at all.
Well, you didn't catch its glint? I would so like to know what it is.
You can't mean to follow.
Why ever not? Come along, Cassandra. It flew in that direction.
Well, we passed the church and the Eagle Tavern. There's not much more of the village unless you mean to chase this phantom into the woods.
Frustrating.
What were you planning to do should you find it?
I don't know. Admire it. What else does one do with birds?
We're not the only ones up here. Look, by the trees. Recognize that cloak?
Miss Abigail Collins. Most intriguing.
More substantial than your mysterious bird.
We must go after her, don't you think? I mean to say, she is to be my sister. It's my duty to look after her.
Very convincing.
Well, yes, I was, wasn't I?
Oh, very well. But if you want to remain undetected...
Yes?
You may need to keep your voice down.
Abigail, my lass, my darling.
Abraham, you waited.
Said I would, didn't I? Every day while my ship was in, I'd say I'd come. Brought you something, too.
Abraham, it's magnificent. The filigree and rubies. That glow, like fire. I've never seen a necklace so fine.
Well, there's more where that came from. I'm owed 6 shares for my last haul.
Where did you get it?
There's plenty of bounty to be found at sea, if you have the determination to claim it.
Do you think you'll ever take me with you?
No, lass.
When we're married, surely.
Not even then.
You're not leaving me with my stuffy old family. I'd have thought a pirate would show more swagger. You should seize me and clap me in irons and drag me out to sea.
I was thinking rather that I might come ashore. I would try an honest living. Ask for your hand properly.
From father? Have you gone mad?
He may not want to know Abraham Harkaway, pirate, but he might look kindly upon Abraham Harkaway, merchant.
I don't think he would somehow.
What? Even if I turned up in fine clothes with more wealth than he could ever dredge up in 5 years fishing?
Father cares about respectability and the Collins name. He's a hard man to impress.
Still, I must try. For both our sakes. This life I lead, it can't go on forever.
Why can't it? For just a little longer.
Do you want to keep meeting in woods and in the caves, snatching moments? Wouldn't you rather know me properly?
Yes, Abraham. With all my heart.
Who is that handsome rogue?
Mr. Abraham Harkaway. Unless I'm much mistaken.
Do you know him? A brute like that?
Actually, he was rather charming when we met. Almost a gentleman.
Oh, well, how disappointing. Well, well. Abigail Collins.
Before you go, Abigail, there's one last thing.
What is it?
I want you to have this. A map showing where my hoard is buried. Everything I've saved so that I might make an honest woman of you and an honest man of me, too.
Why are you giving me this?
If anything should happen to me, I want you to have it.
If anything happened to you, I would die.
Please, Abigail, just take it. Hide it somewhere safe.
No, I don't want it. It's bad luck to even think such things.
You can't know what might happen. It's for the best, believe me.
No, I won't have it. I won't have it!
Abigail, come back. I'll find you. I'll come for you again.
Well, there she goes. We'd better go after her. She's in no state to be by herself. And it sounds as if we're in for rain as well.
Laura, that wasn't thunder.
What do you mean?
Turn around. Very slowly. Look, between the trees. We're being watched.
What is it?
I think it's a wolf.
A wolf?
You'd better go on. Find and look after Abigail. Try and calm her. If the wolf sees her running, it will hunt her down.
What about you?
I know how to deal with it.
How does one woman unarmed deal with wolves?
Trust me, Laura. Look after your family.
You're quite mad, Cassandra.
It's been said before. Now go. Reveal yourself, beast of the forest. Show yourself to Angelique. I see you. I know you, old warrior. I see your scars, the weight of the battles you carry on your flesh. You're quite alone, aren't you? All your pack has left you, and now you fight for yourself. We're not so different, you and I. We remember the blood we've spilled. We know our strength. We know our prey. Yet one thing separates us. You live in the dark, but I am the dark's servant. You are a wolf, and I am a witch.
Where wolves run, you are watched.
Dark Lord!
Look to your task, witch.
What did you think you were doing, Abigail? Trailing through the woods unchaperoned? It's not fitting.
Father, I'm not a little girl.
Well, you have behaved like one. If Laura and Mrs. Peterson had spotted you, I don't know what might have happened.
And where's poor Cassandra? What did she think she was doing, staying to face that animal alone?
I didn't ask them to follow me.
That's true, she didn't. We were there quite by chance.
It's nothing to do with her.
When you have children, Laura, I pray they will be more respectful.
Perhaps we could all calm down. I'll ring for Sarah and ask her to bring tea.
Brandy would be more appropriate to soothe my nerves.
It was entirely my affair.
Your affair?
Yes, my affair with Captain Abraham Harkaway.
Abigail? What are you saying?
I'm in love with Abraham Harkaway.
What folly is this? Do my ears deceive me?
What have you done, child? Is your reputation ruined?
My Abigail! All that needlework, those endless samplers embroidered with holy words. Just a front.
Hold your tongue, sir. This is no laughing matter.
He's a wonderful man, a kind man, and he loves me. We're going to be married, Abraham and I. There's not a thing you can do to stop me.
I think you will find, my girl, there is a great deal I can do. Collinsport is my domain. My word is law. This Harkaway will never set foot in my town again. If he does, I'll have him horsewhipped.
You wouldn't! If we could all be calm.
And as for you, child, I will send for Reverend Cunningham to come and talk some sense into you. Although how you can have fallen so far from God is a mystery.
There are many things you don't understand, Father.
Abigail! Where are you going? It's getting dark.
I'd better go after her.
Thank you, Laura, dear. Perhaps she will listen to you.
Well, that was a performance. Bravo.
I want to hear no more about your sister's behavior. I'm going to my study, and there I shall think long and hard about the contents of my will. People can be removed from this family, as well as added to it.
Was that directed at me? What have I done?
Don't pay any heed. He's upset. We both are. Abigail was always the most dutiful and considerate of daughters. At least I thought she was. I'm going to go and lie down for a while.
Very well, Mama. It will be fine, you know.
You're a good son.
And then there was one. How about a large drink, Joshua? Don't mind if I do. Mrs. Peterson, you've returned safely. Would you care to join me in a brandy? I feel a restorative is called for.
That would be very agreeable.
You've missed quite the spectacle. My sister turns out to have a heart. Laura exits in close pursuit. My father realizes he can't ordain everything that happens in Collinsport, and my mother finally loses patience and retires to bed.
I'm almost relieved I didn't arrive sooner.
And that just leaves you and me. Cheers.
À votre santé.
Nicely put. So, tell me, Mrs. Peterson.
Cassandra will be fine.
Very well. Cassandra? What do you make of our Captain Harkaway?
He's handsome and not without wit.
But also a pirate and hardly respectable.
Oh, I didn't remark on his occupation.
You didn't have to. I'm aware of Mr. Harkaway's exploits, although, admittedly, not those concerning my sister.
What would you know about freebooting and treason on the high seas?
Take a look out of the parlor window. What do you see?
The harbor, the boats, and the sea beyond.
You see Collinsport. It is ours. We control it. And that means everything that comes in and goes out. Both the goods that are declared and taxed, and those that arrive by more surreptitious means. Captain Harkaway is not without talent. He's been a useful man to know. If only he hadn't set his sights on Abigail.
So, Caleb will deny Abraham marriage to Abigail. Because of Abraham's lack of respectability. And yet all the while he knew of his crimes.
You don't sound entirely surprised.
Sometimes it is useful to be reminded how the world works.
I'm glad we understand one another. Another drink?
No, thank you. I should go and dress for dinner.
One more thing before you go.
Yes?
Do tell me, Cassandra. How did you manage to single-handedly fend off a wolf?
Oh. Wolves aren't so very difficult to deal with, Joshua, like most single-minded creatures. Once they realize you won't give them what they want, they simply lose interest.
Oh, interesting. I must remember that next time I'm hunting.
Besides, the size of the animal was greatly exaggerated.
Really? Laura seemed adamant.
It wasn't a wolf, just a stray dog. Quite pathetic, really.
Poor brute. You make me feel quite sorry for him.
He'll be fine, I expect. Only his pride was bruised.
You handled him with ease.
I thought so.
And charm. And grace. And...
Joshua, what are you doing?
What do you think I'm doing? It's only a kiss.
Joshua, stop.
Truly? I thought you were more worldly than that.
You are engaged to Laura.
And you tell us you have a husband, but does that mean we should never look at anyone else?
Even if I were drawn to you...
Don't tell me you didn't feel something between us. A charge in the ether, like a storm waiting to break.
Joshua?
Excuse me, ma'am. Mr. Collins.
Yes, what now?
It's just dinner is due to be served, and Mrs. Collins has gone to her chamber, and Mr. Collins won't be disturbed, and we haven't seen Miss Abigail.
That will do. They will be found. Everything will be fine, and dinner will go ahead as planned.
Yes, sir. Very good, sir.
I think that is my cue to leave.
Why? Because of that pretty little thing? Oh, why pay heed to her? She didn't see anything. And if she did, she can simply be sent away.
Is it that easy for you?
It can be.
So, Sarah does not matter either.
I've forgotten her already. It's you I'm interested in, Cassandra.
Good evening, Mr. Collins.
Cassandra, wait!
So, like my Barnabas. And just like Barnabas, he believes all the world bends to suit him. Wolves and witches and servant girls and sad affairs of the heart. All the stories are beginning here. I can sense it. History repeats, and the Collins family tell the same old lies of respectability and duty, and the rest of us can go to hell. They show one face to the world and keep the true one for the shadows. Well, I won't have it. I'll put a stop to it. All these stories end now.
Begging your pardon, ma'am.
Yes, what is it?
Night has fallen, and the master wishes to know what you plan to do.
Is this your master upstairs in his study? Or your master down below?
I speak of him whom we both serve.
Well, tell the Dark Lord I agree. I will do what he asks. The House of Collins. Let it fall.
Another day has passed, and dark clouds are gathering over Collinsport. Before this night is over, a demon will rise, a good man will die, and one woman will be pushed to the very limits of her soul.
What do you think you're doing, girl, rummaging through my cupboards?
Looking for a few herbs, Mrs. Griffin.
And who said you could do that? Mrs. Summers has no right to send you here to cause a commotion. If the housekeeper wants something done, she should ask me herself.
But she didn't send me, Mrs. Griffin. It's not for Mrs. Summers. It's for Mrs. Peterson.
Oh, really? And what does Milady want this time?
A little sage, she said. Yarrow, too, if we can spare it.
Well, mixing up another one of her potions, is she?
I suppose so. She said it would settle things, leastways.
The proper place for cooking is my kitchen. There's no call to go brewing things up all hugger-mugger in her bedchamber. What does she have to be unsettled about anyway, I'd like to know?
Perhaps she's missing her husband.
Oh, not her. I've seen that expression she goes around with, her eyes as cold as glass. There is no love in that heart.
She's pleasant enough to me. Calls me by my name and everything.
Well, I'm not one to gossip. Not like Mrs. Summers, of course.
No, Mrs. Griffin.
But she's not here by chance. You mark my words.
If Mrs. Peterson is so wicked, why has she gone up to the captain's walk atop the house, except to look out to sea and watch for her husband's ship coming in?
Captain's walk? In my day, it was known as the widow's walk. And better named it was, too, for all the poor women that suffered and waited. There were many long nights poor Mrs. Collins kept vigil up on that balcony. waiting for her husband and then her young Joshua to come home safe.
And they always did, didn't they? Mrs. Peterson doesn't have that assurance.
What are you after now, girl?
A knife. A small one.
What does she need that for?
To cut a thread for needlework? Maybe slice open a letter? I don't know, do I?
You watch your tongue.
I'm only doing what I was bid.
Well, I'm not having it. Half my kitchen gone missing. How in heaven's name am I supposed to put on a proper service?
It's hardly half. It's just one little knife.
You put that down.
Shan't.
Come back here.
But I promised.
I'll give you promises.
What's going on in here?
It's not my fault, Mrs. Summers. Mrs. Peterson asked me to fetch it, but she won't let me.
And who is she, may I ask? The cat's mother?
A little decorum, please, as befits the Collins household.
Yes, Mrs. Summers. Sorry, Mrs. Summers. It won't happen again.
That's you put in your place, girl.
And Mrs. Griffin, is the kitchen so ill-stocked we can't spare a single knife to meet a guest's wishes?
She can have it if she must. But not that one, it's best. Take one from the back dresser drawer.
Yes, Mrs. Griffin. May I go?
See that you hurry back. You'll need to take the plates up to the dining room soon enough, and I can't find that Fiona anywhere.
Yes, Mrs. Griffin.
This mutton's going to be tough as old boots if dinner's kept waiting much longer. Old Mr. Collins won't be happy. There's trouble brewing. I'm sure of it.
I'm sure you'll do your best.
You still here, Mrs. Summers? Are you planning to have a poke-about too?
No, Mrs. Griffin. I'm content to watch and to direct others' labors. That is, after all, the housekeeper's job.
Mrs. Peterson? I've brought the things you asked for.
You're an able servant, Sarah.
It's quite a climb up those stairs. I've only been up once before when Mrs. Summers sent me to check the sand bucket they keep in case of chimney fires. Have you spied what you're looking for, ma'am?
Not yet. I can be patient.
What have you, though? Miles and miles, and all the boats as dainty as a child's toy out upon the waves. Doesn't it make you feel small?
Not at all. I've always felt at one with the ocean. My mother used to say I was born of water.
Mind you, I'm not sure I care to be up so high. Makes you quite giddy.
Sarah, I wish to be alone. To contemplate. You understand?
Yes, ma'am. Didn't mean to intrude. Will there be anything else?
Not for now.
Very good. And thank you again, ma'am.
And now there shall be a summoning. And a reckoning, too. Hear me, O elements of wind and storm. Listen to my words. To the north I scatter sand, dust from the ocean's floor. To the east I scatter sage, to honor your power, the breath that shakes the land. To the south I scatter yarrow, to bind you to my will. And to the west, from which you rise, I sacrifice my blood. With each drop that falls from my arm, I conjure and draw you to me. What do you want of me, witch? I would have you travel far out to sea, there to call up a tempest so vast that ships shall overturn. I would bid you draw the great waves inland and set them lashing upon the shore, there to loosen timber and cause the very earth to tremble.
I will do as you ask, but be warned, only blood can start this magic, and only death can stop it.
Pluck a soul from one you drown at sea, and another from those inland. Have them as your prize, I care not whom you take.
As you wish.
First Joshua's ships, and next the port, and then I will set you loose on Colin's house.
It shall be done, but be mindful of our pact. Great will be my wrath if I am denied.
Go and do your work, Spirit. Let the foundations of the Collins Empire be torn out from under them. Tonight!
Cassandra, there you are. Where have you been all day? Summers was oddly evasive as to your whereabouts.
I had a couple of personal matters to attend to. Is dinner served?
It is. An uneasy truce has been declared. I'm quite worn out. Abigail is speaking little to Patience, but I fear she and Caleb may take longer to reconcile. Of course, there can be no question of her marrying that buccaneer.
Joshua made that quite clear to me. There's the Collins name to consider.
Well, naturally. So farewell, Abraham Harkaway. I must go take a look at the captain's walk sometime. I've a notion it would be ideal to see if I can spot that strange little bird. Do you know I saw it again when I was searching for Abigail? It must be my good luck charm.
Little bird? You would be better looking to your man, Laura.
Cassandra, dear, are you all right? Did you catch a chill on the drafty balcony?
This coast is a cold, hard place. Unforgiving. Someone said that to me once, and I think they were right.
Has something happened? Did I do something to upset you?
Not at all. At least, not yet.
Not yet? Forgive me, Cassandra, but I can only account for here and now. I can't be held responsible for days yet to come.
We all do what we must. What we have to. I would ask you to believe I'm acting for the best. It's true, some may suffer, and I'm actually sorry for that, but more will be saved.
I don't understand these words you're saying. What's wrong?
Be careful, Laura. There's a storm coming.
Belay that, lad. Did nobody teach you it's bad luck to whistle on board ship?
Aye, Captain. Your pardon. It won't happen again.
Whistle for the wind and you might get it. And more than you want, besides. There's a tempest blowing up, and no mistake.
Is it going to be bad, Captain?
Worse than your worst imagining. Midshipmen, get the men aloft. Tell them to lower the sails. And fast!
Aye, aye, Captain. Storms are coming and we gotta get ready. Up the rigging, on the double. Get the sails down.
What should I do?
Anything loose, stow it. Get those hatches battened down.
Aye, aye.
And if you have faith, Guilford, offer a prayer. We're gonna need all the help we can get.
Yes, Captain!
Good lad. Now get to it! Abigail, my sweet girl, I will find a way through this. I will come back for you. I promise.
Rosy red in the afternoon. Just a hint of showers, and now... I don't like it.
That's an ill-tempered sky, right enough.
We're not due for a change.
Joshua, come look. Take your field glasses and look to the horizon.
I don't understand. All my charts and instruments indicated otherwise.
So much for your science of prediction. Perhaps you should leave foresight to higher powers than yourself.
Abigail, your pious sentiment has always bored me. Now your hypocrisy is known. That goes for double.
Joshua, that was unkind. Apologize.
Your behavior is hardly beyond reproach, Joshua.
What is that supposed to mean?
Be quiet. You both are as bad as each other. My concern is Colin's house. If the storm comes inland, the scaffold may tumble, the supplies may be scattered. Is the roof properly
Oh,
secured?
to hell with Colin's house!
Explain yourself, sir.
What about our men? Part of the fleet is still at sea. Even those in port could have trouble if it's bad enough.
Where are you going?
To look to my duty.
Does he mean Colin's house, Patience? I trust he's speaking of the house.
I don't know, Caleb. I'm sure he'll be sensible.
What about my captain? What about Abraham? He's out there too, you know.
With an eye on plunder, I'll be bound. If a man makes his living preying on the weaknesses of others, well, perhaps it would be best if he did not return.
Father, I knew you could be cold, but that's just cruel! Out of my way, Laura!
Abigail, what's upset you?
I will not be made to toe the line again!
Oh, for goodness sake.
It seems all my children are unruly.
Not all, Caleb.
I wager even little Jeremiah, slumbering in his nursery, is secretly plotting rebellion.
Oh, you don't think that.
I wouldn't be surprised.
Won't someone tell me what's going on? Where's Joshua?
Well, I trust he's gone to Colin's house to make everything secure.
With a storm coming, he should be inside with me. I'm going to bring him back.
It would be wiser to stay here.
I'm sorry, Caleb, I can't do that. I must find him.
It seems we must wait this storm out alone, Caleb.
That woman has given a false account of herself. I thought she would be ideal, a good, respectable wife for Joshua. Instead, she's wild and unbiddable.
She's young, my dear. They all are. You're like that once, too. Impetuous and full of fire and vigor.
I hardly think so.
Listen. The wind is catching in the chimney. It's getting closer.
We're riding too low. Next big wave will finish us. Hold her! Hold her steady! We have to make her lighter. Everything not tacked down. Throw it over!
Even the guns, Captain.
Aye, damn it! They go or we do. You understand?
Throw the cannons over!
Aye, aye!
Loose them and haul them over the side, on the double lats.
Damn it! Not enough. It's not going to be enough.
Joshua! Joshua, come back! Joshua, where are you? Why did I think this was a good idea?
Mrs. Stockbridge,
Mr. Sands,
what are you doing in the woods?
calling for Joshua, what does it look like? He's on his way to Colin's house to make sure it's all battened down.
He need not worry on that score. I've taken care of everything.
Oh, good.
But I'm sorry to say, Mrs. Stockbridge, I did not see Joshua Collins.
You didn't?
I left Colin's house but moments ago.
Well, I can't have passed him, can I? What do you think's happened?
Who can say? It's not a night to be abroad.
Perhaps he didn't head this way at all, but Caleb seems sure. Oh no, I don't know what to do. We must go back to Anchor House and trust we find him on the way.
No. We should not. You must stay with me, Laura.
Why must I?
This storm, its eye is on the water, but who knows when it will turn.
You speak as if it's alive.
I sense something unnatural about it. Something evil. We must take shelter at once.
Well, on that, Mr. Sands, we are in agreement.
To Colin's house, then, with haste. It is closest, after all.
But it's a building site.
Not entirely. There's much to be done, and the wings are still to be added, but the Great Hall itself is nearly complete. We will be safe and dry there.
I knew nothing of this. Why didn't Joshua tell me?
It was to be a surprise, dear lady. The hall is to be opened for your wedding. It will be the grandest building for miles and the envy of all your guests.
Oh, Joshua, you old romantic.
I take it you are persuaded.
Yes, Mr. Sands, let's go at once.
That's not gonna last much longer. Hear her moan. We need to cut the riggings. Get the last of the sails down at any cost. You, sailor! Gifford! Get her off and get the ropes cut.
I can't, Captain. I'll be thrown over.
We'll all be thrown over. Get her aloft. That's an order.
I can't go up there. Not in this. You can't make me.
Damn it, boy. You're too soft. Give me the knife. I'll do it myself.
Hold her! Hold her steady!
Just a little bit. Damn these knots. That's one. Now the next. Damn it! I won't be beaten.
Bold captain, brave captain, I claim you. I take you as my prize, and as I breathe out, you will breathe your last.
Captain's overboard!
The mast's falling! For God's sake, boys, look out!
Oh, Lord, forgive me, what have I done?
Abandon ship! Every man for himself! Abandon ship!
Sit yourself down, madam, and rest. I will dig out my tinderbox and kindle the fire, and then we may wait out the storm in comfort.
This hall is quite something, Mr. Sands.
Oh, you're too kind.
I don't think I've ever seen plaster so smooth, like eggshell.
It's made from finely ground clamshells and horsehair.
And those cornices, so elegant.
It is but a shadow of what it shall be. The building will grow, the decades will pass, and it will become only more magnificent.
Is it wise to speak so? Don't you fear tempting fate?
It will endure. I know it to be true.
I can see why Caleb approves of you. But I'm a widow, Mr. Sands. I know that things don't always turn out as we hope.
The longevity has been assured.
Whatever do you mean?
I will show you. There are 3 sacred places of the building, Mrs. Stockbridge. The threshold, the roof, and the hearth. In these locations I have placed wards to secure Collins House and protect it. And under this hearthstone lies the most important of all.
A golden pot? No, an urn of some kind. All carved and decorated.
This is a new land for some. But there are very old things in it. Things that have traveled far and waited centuries for their time to come again.
It's beautiful. The way it glows in the firelight.
You may lift it. Hold it in your hands.
Can I? I mean, I'm not sure I dare.
You must. It's you it has been waiting for, Laura.
Alfred Loomis, what in heaven's name do you think you're doing? The kitchen's no place for mucky coachmen like you.
Nah, I'm not staying out in that. I'll be drowned and blown away, and I don't care for either.
Water and mud all over the floor. Sarah, fetch a bucket.
Right away, ma'am. Only...
What is it, girl? At once. It's only a storm.
Yes. Sorry, ma'am. That's the last bucket. They're all upstairs. The roof sprung a leak. Lots of leaks. The master is furious.
We'll use a pot.
Yes, Mrs. Griffin.
And get a brush. Get that water swept out quickly.
Yes, Mrs. Griffin.
Honestly, must I do everything myself?
Yes, Mrs. Griffin. I mean, no, Mrs. Griffin.
Are you being impertinent, girl? Are you going to do your job, or do you want to be replaced?
No, Mrs. Griffin. Yes, Mrs. Oh, I don't know what you want me to say anymore.
Honestly, that girl, not a thought in her head. For goodness sakes, Loomis, sit down and take a claw to yourself. You're dripping everywhere.
You should see it. The water's streaming down the hillside like a river. You better hope this house is as anchored as its name, or it's going to be down as well.
You don't mean that?
I really think it might.
Oh, saints preserve us. You should bring in that stable boy.
He'll be with the horses. The poor lad's a bit simple.
He's gentle. That's different.
Spooked horses lash out. He'd be wiser to stay away.
Good Lord, what's that?
I think it was the roof.
Oh, now we're flooding again. All over my kitchen. Loomis, what are we going to do?
Hold on, Mrs. Griffin. Just hold on. Pray it's over soon. There's not much more we can do.
The urn feels warm in my hands. I want to look inside. I have to look inside.
You can, if you wish.
There's only sand. I don't know what I was expecting.
It's not sand. It's ash.
Ash? What from?
A body.
You mean it's dead? Take it. Take it back. I don't want it.
I cannot. I have carried it too far and too long. Besides, are you sure you want to give it back?
No.
From out of the ash will arise something new, something wonderful.
Nothing survives flame.
One creature can. One creature in all the world. A creature so rare, only one may exist at a time. Its head and body are scarlet, its wings iridescent, dancing bright.
The little bird I saw. No one noticed it, but I saw it. Heard it singing.
A sign. That means you are chosen.
It has been calling out to you.
It had eyes that were the bluest blue.
Your eyes, Laura. Do you know the name of the creature I spoke of?
Yes.
Then say it.
Phoenix.
Yes. The Phoenix.
Hush now, Jeremiah. Hush. There's nothing to be afraid of. I won't let the storm harm you. I'll keep you safe. I'm sorry, ma'am. He wouldn't settle.
It's all right, Summers. You did well to bring him to me. He's safer here than in the nursery.
Very good, ma'am.
Confound this weather, and confound this house. It's falling apart around us. It's no longer fit for this family. It's gotten too old to protect us. Too old and decrepit.
It served us well. It sheltered us while we brought 3 children into the world. It's a good place.
If only I pushed Malachi Sands harder, Colin's house might be ready and we'd all be safe.
You did your best. No one could have expected this.
And where's Joshua? Oh, where's my son? I let him go out in this.
He'll be fine. He must be. Joshua's strong.
Rotten old wood. Rotten old building. The Collinses were meant for better.
Paid no heed to it. Caleb, would you hold my hand?
Why, yes, my dear, of course. If you want me to.
I do. I find it comforting. Hush, little baby, don't say a word. Mama's gonna buy you a mockingbird. Hush, little baby, don't say a word. Mama's gonna buy you a mockingbird.
I felt it move. There's something in the urn, wriggling in the ash. A worm.
The Phoenix has been dormant so long, it must bond with the human soul to begin its life cycle again. Great power and honor would be yours if you accept its blessing.
And why? Why would I do that?
The storm draws closer. Can you hear it howl, Laura? Can't you hear it roar out its anger?
Yes.
It is a wicked, unnatural thing, summoned up to cause great harm. An evil mind has loosed it on this world, and its target is the Collins family.
What do you mean?
It has already taken life, and the next to die will be even closer.
Are they all accounted for?
As many as made it back, Mr. Collins. There's some that foundered not far from shore.
We can do nothing for them now, poor devils.
The Golden Bow and Falcon overturned, no sign of the Sarah.
We have to take cover. There's nothing more to do until this blows over.
Mr. Collins, look, there's another. One more fishing boat trying to make it back to port. They'll be dashed apart.
Haskell, get every sailor you can muster. What boats are seaworthy?
The Hunter is holding up, but we don't stand a chance.
We must try. I can't lose another. We have to help them. Come on!
Joshua. You mean Joshua, don't you?
Yes, Joshua Collins. Even now, the storm moves to claim him.
How can you know these dreadful things?
The wardship of the urn has gifted me sight. But my power is nothing compared to that of the one who bonds with the Phoenix.
The one who... Do you mean me?
It has called you. It has reached out and brought you to me, to this moment when everything hangs in the balance.
What must I do?
You sense it already. You know the answer, Laura.
I must swallow the worm.
You must consume it and allow it to devour you.
Why must I?
You know that too.
Because only fire can turn back the storm.
Yes. Only the Phoenix can save us now.
This is madness, Mr. Collins. We should have never set out.
I won't accept that.
We'll never reach them. The sea is too wild.
We keep going. Do you hear me, Haskell? That's an order.
Yes, sir. We keep going. God help us all.
this dreadful thing, this will save Joshua and the rest of the Collins family too. You promise.
Look inside yourself. You have seen the signs. You know it to be true. All you need to do is take the power that has been offered to you.
Then I will. For the sake of the family. For Joshua. I will do it. I will do it. I must.
What wild magic is this sent against me? No!
Fire! Fire stopped the storm. But that means...
My name is Laura Stockbridge. The Phoenix lives!
A storm has raged across Collinsport, and the village will never be the same again. Lives have been changed, and lives have been lost. For some, the battle is over, and no more can be done. For others, the struggle is just beginning. A power is stirring in the darkness, old as time and strong as flame, and it is growing stronger.
I don't think I've ever seen a brighter morning. Everything's been washed clean.
Look at you, with your arms outstretched. You remind me of a creature an old sailor once told me about. He said it sat up in a tree and prayed to the sun. Now, what was it called?
Theodore Collins, are you comparing me to some sort of heathen squirrel?
It was supposed to be a charming beast, with a striking coat, bright eyes, and acquisitive fingers.
You and your wild stories. Why did you stop traveling, Teddy?
Oh, you know, Caleb told me often enough I was the only Collins born without salt in his veins. Eventually, I took him at his word, decided I was sick of the sea, and of him as well. I moved to New York to get away.
And? Stop teasing me.
And obviously, if I hadn't gone to New York, I'd never have met you.
Now that would have been a tragedy.
I was blind drunk when I stumbled into that theater.
I remember.
I thought it was a tavern with very colorful bar hands.
Lucky for me you didn't spot your mistake.
As I recall, I spotted you rather quickly. You lovely mistake.
And now I get to come to Collinsport and meet the family. You used to swear you were never coming back here.
Well, not even I could ignore a summons home to see my nephew married.
Is Joshua very handsome?
Isabel, what are you plotting? You want to exchange me, is that it? Young Collins for old?
I like to consider every possibility.
Besides, I wanted to come. I had to stop off and see this wonderful folly my brother is building.
Big, isn't it?
That's barely half of it. Caleb wrote and told me his plans. Do you know, as well as all the formal rooms and salon, there's to be all kinds of hidden chambers, even a secret passageway down to the shore.
Mercy, whatever for?
We live in uncertain times. Perhaps some of us will have to fight, and some of us may want to run.
Teddy, I thought of something. This house is just like your mean old brother, all gray and stern on the outside and secrets stowed within.
Very clever, Isabel, but perhaps you should keep that thought to yourself.
What in heaven's name is that?
It came from the house.
There's someone in the doorway.
A blonde woman. Oh, And she's pretty.
Yes, Theodore, I can see that. But what's she doing here? Oh, Teddy, look out, she's going to fall.
Easy. Easy now. I've got you.
Please, won't you help me? I'm Laura. Laura Stockbridge.
Are you feeling any better, Laura?
A little. Last night is still so vague.
I don't know what Caleb was thinking, letting you go chasing after my nephew in that god-awful storm.
No wonder you caught a cold.
But I was warm. The fire held me. It gave me all I needed.
Still, you shouldn't have been alone.
I wasn't alone. At least, I don't think I was. There was someone... Sand. Or was it Ash?
Teddy, I think she's feverish.
There's something amiss, certainly.
Dear lady, you must rest.
And who might you be?
I am Malachi Sands, architect of this grand building. I was with Mrs. Stockbridge last night.
Oh, you were you?
I looked after her. I've been out to gather more firewood. She feels cold, you know.
I think we should get her away from here and back to Anchor House, where she can be looked after properly.
Are you known to the Collins?
Black sheep of the family.
I see.
I'll ready the horses. Damn it, where has that coachman gotten to?
Teddy, I think I saw where he went. Teddy? Oh, Mr. Sands, would you watch Laura? I shan't be a moment.
But of course. How are you, my mistress? Are you recovered? Turning back the storm must have taken much power.
Mistress, you don't work for me, Mr. Sands. You work for Caleb Collins.
I am a servant of the flame.
The scarlet bird. It called. Flames all about. Breathing, twisting.
Now listen to me, Laura. There will be 3 calls to the flame. Last night was the first. The third will be the greatest, and then there shall be no turning back. All you will be is Phoenix.
What do you mean? All.
Remember what I've said.
It's fine, we can go. We found the coachman.
You found the coachman.
I'm good at finding coachmen.
I shall ignore that. We'll get you home now, Laura. If I may assist you.
What did you mean, Mr. Sands? You must tell me.
Such a terrible fever.
Put your arm around my shoulder, Laura. There. I've got you. I've got you.
I found another body.
God help us. The waves were not kind.
So many good men lost. We have a great task ahead of us.
Thank you, Reverend. I know you're doing all you can.
Collinsport's loss is the church's loss too. So many souls taken from our congregation.
A dreadful night, Father. I've never seen anything like it. The way the wind just stopped so suddenly, right at its worst.
I was grateful for that.
The hand of the Lord interceded.
Not soon enough for some.
His ways are mysterious, my son.
Amen to that. I meant no disrespect.
Naturally you did not. Sadly, however, while much of the port stood firm, the church was not so fortunate. Half the roof is gone.
A great tragedy, Father.
Indeed, my son. And what with all these poor men requiring burial, I fear we will be bearing the cost of this storm for some time to come. That is to say, unless...
The Collins family will contribute, of course.
A very charitable sentiment.
It is our town, after all.
Over here, Mr. Collins. There's another. Been massed something terrible on the rocks.
A dreadful sight.
Abraham Harkaway. I knew him a little.
An infamous pirate. One for unconsecrated ground, I think.
No. I would have him granted a Christian burial.
I hardly think an unrepentant vagabond deserves the sanctity of the church.
Do you want your roof or not?
Mr. Collins.
This man was known to my family, never mind how. But he was dear to my sister especially.
I see.
I want no word of this, Reverend. None at all. That goes for you too, Haskell.
Yes, Mr. Collins. I swear.
Reverend, if you would walk with me a little. This is a delicate matter. My sister may have been a little unwise.
Miss Abigail, she has always been most devout.
Nonetheless, Abigail must not hear of Harkaway's death, not until she's ready. Reverend, it would mean a great deal if you could be there to soften the blow.
Anything I can do to help, I will do gladly. The occasional sheep does stray. It is my task to shepherd them back into the fold.
Abigail. Must get back to Abigail. Tell her the jewels must get back to Abigail.
There was this ghastly cry, and then we saw her in the doorway.
Oh, the poor dear child.
She fell down in a dead faint, but Teddy rushed forward and caught her in his arms.
My brother has always been adept at picking up fallen women.
I see the years have not mellowed you, Caleb.
If anything, they have distilled me. I shall leave dilution to those that choose to lead a merchant's life in New York.
Dilution? What does he mean, Teddy?
You ungrateful old... Remind me why my wife and I traveled all this way to see you?
Because, sir, because when all is said and done, blood remains thicker than water.
Well, I'll drink to that at least.
An excellent notion.
Summers, would you have Sarah bring the gentlemen some refreshments?
Actually, I also find myself a little parched.
Perhaps we all better have something. At once, ma'am. And Summers, before you go, how is Laura faring? Resting in her chamber. Mrs. Peterson is with her. She didn't insist on making Laura one of her strange potions, did she?
Potions, ma'am? I don't believe so.
Oh. I'll look in on them later. Thank you, Summers.
Tell me, Theodore, what did you make of Cullen's house?
It's an impressive edifice. Or it will be when it's finished.
It will be strong as a fortress, sir. I've gone to extraordinary lengths to make it so.
Joshua is very lucky. You've definitely decided to gift it to him after the wedding?
He is the heir to the Collins Empire. It's only fitting.
Where is my dear nephew, anyway?
Oh, yes, where is he? Having met the bride, I should so like to see the groom.
My son is down at the harbor organizing repairs. Reverend Cunningham arrived earlier, bearing a message.
And a hefty tally as well. He wants to re-roof the church in gold, I'll wager.
The Reverend speaking with Abigail now on a private matter. They're taking a turn about the garden.
Nothing wrong, I trust?
Oh, no. A spiritual affair.
These things so often are.
Would you like another pillow, Laura? Or a blanket?
I'm quite comfortable, Cassandra. Thank you.
How are you feeling?
Much better. What do you know? Joshua's little bird weathered the storm.
So fortunate that you ran into Mr. Sands.
Yes, he was surprisingly helpful. We were also taken aback by the storm, the way it blew up out of nowhere.
Almost as mysterious as the way it suddenly burned itself out.
Yes, that was strange. I wonder what could have caused it.
A force. Of equal but opposite strength, I imagine.
But what could possibly counteract the element of air?
Flame.
Fascinating. I understand so little of the natural sciences. Perhaps I should make a study.
But we understand each other, don't we?
I'm starting to think we do. A pity, because when we first met...
You thought we could be friends.
Funny how things change.
But people don't. The more I see, the more I am convinced of it. Blood is too strong. The day we arrived, you complained it was stuffy in this room, didn't you?
I must have been out of sorts from traveling.
Yet earlier you asked Sarah to stoke up a blaze in the grate.
I can't think of anything better. Breathing in the heat. So warming, healing. I'm almost back to my old self.
No, I don't think you are. I think you're still becoming what you're going to be, Laura Stockbridge. And you're not quite there yet.
What are you doing with that jug?
A simple demonstration. It will allow me to test my theory.
Put it down.
To continue our little discussion regarding the elements. If fire defeats air, what do you think conquers fire?
You wouldn't.
Water douses flame. A child knows that, Laura. If I throw this on the fire, what happens to your recovery?
Please.
What happens to you?
Laura, dear child, I thought I must come see how you... Good heavens, Mrs. Peterson, what are you doing?
She's going to throw it on the fire.
Do you want to drown the room in steam and ash and choke poor Laura to death? Put it down.
It seemed the most effective way of controlling the flame.
Whatever were you thinking? Ring for Sarah to do the job properly if you must.
I seem to have overstepped my mark. Your pardon, if you will excuse me.
By all means, Mrs. Peterson.
Where are you going, Cassandra, dear?
To the captain's walk. There's someone I must watch for.
Well, really, I'm starting to have my doubts about that young woman. Her behavior can be downright peculiar.
What do you mean, Mama?
She had Sarah on some extraordinary quest for herbs and a kitchen knife so that she could brew up a potion. Oh, I wonder.
What's the matter?
What was just before the storm? Laura, am I being ridiculous to think...
Cassandra was upstairs on the captain's walk balcony that night.
What is it?
I remember. We spoke together. She told me there was a storm coming. She warned me. She said I should look to my man.
Oh, Laura, whom have I invited into my house?
You're not to blame, Mama. It was I who insisted that the coach stop and pick her up. I trusted her.
We all may have been a little too trusting. It is disturbing to think we may have nursed a viper. Nevertheless, I must know the truth of this. I will speak to her.
I'll come with you.
No, Laura. You will stay here and rest and become well. You have a wedding to prepare for. Nothing must be allowed to disturb that. I shall deal with Cassandra Peterson. I think it may be time she left.
Miss Collins, I've known you some time, haven't I?
Almost as long as I can remember.
And you've always known if you had a problem or a crisis of faith, you could come to me?
Yes, Reverend Cunningham, I have.
Sit with me, would you, child? The bench is sheltered and shouldn't trouble old bones.
Very well.
This morning, I was at the shore. Some men from the village were helping clear up the devastation, led by Roderick Haskell and your brother Joshua.
Reverend, if you've been speaking with Joshua, I have to warn you. My brother and I do not see eye to eye.
That is a shame. In this matter, however, I am certain he has your interests at heart.
What is it, Reverend? What's wrong?
Miss Collins, we were trying to do our best by those lost souls we found washed up on the beach.
Reverend, you're scaring me.
It is my sad duty to tell you Abraham Harkaway was among their number. Your brother says you held some affection for the departed? Miss Collins, you don't need to be ashamed.
No.
I don't follow...
It wasn't him. It can't have been.
Joshua was the one who identified the body. He was certain.
Abraham isn't gone.
Abigail, I've been ministering to the sick for many years. I know the signs of life and what signifies its lack. There is no doubt in my mind.
Reverend, it is you who doesn't understand. I watched the storm. I saw it from my bedroom window. I felt the building shake, as if at any moment it would tumble and fall down into the bay. In all that time, no matter how terrified I was, I knew I wasn't alone. I thought about Abraham, out on the sea. It was as if I felt some kind of connection.
No one is alone, Miss Collins. Not the highest nor the lowest in the land.
I don't mean the presence of God, Reverend.
Then what do you speak of?
I was in the garden, Reverend, not long before you arrived. And as I walked among the trees, just for a moment I saw him. I felt the eyes of Abraham Harkaway watching me.
It is not possible, Miss Collins. He is dead.
I know what I saw. If faith cannot explain it, then perhaps it was the devil's work. Either way, it comforted me.
Abigail, do not say such things. You will call down judgment on us all.
Storm Elemental, I call on you. Appear before me and give an account of yourself.
magic has been defiled.
I don't want excuses. The Tempest died at its height. The Collinses go on as before. What happened?
I reached out to claim my prize, and I met with fire. It rose up from nowhere. The spectre danced around me, wild and gleeful, as my life breath was stolen.
What form did this spectre take?
A great bird with wings of flame.
The Phoenix, as I feared. I should have dealt with Laura before her arising. Now I must make another plan. You may go. You have failed. You are no longer required.
A death is required to end our pact. I was promised, and you were warned.
It is not my fault. You saw fire and fled.
An enchantment that fails to meet its mark rebounds upon itself. Already the world is out of joint. I will be destroyed.
I cannot help you.
Mrs. Peterson, are you up there? I would have words with you. I have become concerned. I fear you are not a suitable person to associate with my family.
Go back. Mrs. Collins, turn around.
Who are you talking to?
You don't want to know.
What is that thing?
I will not be denied!
What demon have you summoned up with your lies and spells?
Death I shall have. Those were our terms.
But not my death, great elemental. You are bound not to harm me. I cast the spell. I cast Yarrow to protect.
No, the magic is defiled. Your protection is scattered.
Mrs. Peterson, I fear this is what happens to those who consort with devils. You must be strong. You must turn away from evil.
I must claim a life. I will not be denied.
Then take her. There is your life. I command you, take her and go.
No! What are you doing? Get back. Keep away from me. No! No!
Good Lord, what's happened?
Mother!
She fell from above, a wind from nowhere.
Mother, what has happened to you? Speak to me.
Abigail, the face of evil must be crushed. You understand?
Face of evil? Who do you mean?
Crushed.
Lord, have mercy on
No,
us.
don't die! Please!
We are here today to lay to rest the mortal remains of Patience Collins, beloved wife to Caleb, and mother to Joshua, Abigail, and Jeremiah.
I think little Jeremiah was very brave.
Poor mite, to lose his mother at such an age.
It was a very beautiful service. So moving. I'm overcome. Indeed. I think I may faint.
Perhaps a brandy would steady your nerves?
Oh, yes, Teddy, if you think that's best.
A terrible day.
The worst of days, Father.
I hoped this week to see my eldest son married. I did not think I would be laying to rest my dear wife.
Father, Laura and I have been talking. Perhaps it would be best if the wedding were postponed. You have no objection, do you, little bird?
Not at all. Patience was always so kind to me.
No, I won't have that. It's not what your mother would have wanted. She longed to see you both settled just as much as I do.
You can't mean for us to go ahead.
We have guests arriving from far and wide. Collinses who have been away from Collinsport for many years, like my dear brother and his wife.
That's good of you to say, Caleb, but under the circumstances...
Laura's guests, too, have traveled far, the Murdochs and the Stockbridges.
Nevertheless.
No! I will not hear of it. We cannot turn people away and send them home only to expect them to repeat the same arduous journey some months later. Do me this kindness, son. Start your new life with Laura. Perhaps even out of this great sadness, something better may come.
If it's what you want, Father.
I insist on it.
We will do as you say.
I still want to know why Mother fell.
Abigail, this is not the time.
You may be ready to forget, but I am not.
Abigail, we've been through this. The balcony rail was rotten. All those years of wind and rain, and then the storm.
The face of evil must be crushed. What did she mean by that? Did you ever think she wasn't alone up there?
She wasn't alone. I believe she followed Cassandra.
Mrs. Peterson? Has she still not gone on her way? Does that woman think we're running a boarding house?
Laura, the last time you spoke with Mother, you were running a fever. Even if Cassandra Peterson were on the captain's walk, what possible reason could she have for committing murder? Mother gave her shelter. All Cassandra feels is gratitude.
You seem very keen to defend her, Joshua. Has your attention drifted from your bride already?
Back to the moral high ground already, sister.
I may not have given my love wisely, but at least I am constant. My love is true.
Your love is dead, Abigail.
Enough! Today is not for unruly bickering. The wedding will go ahead and we will present ourselves with our best face forward. We shall show the world what the Collins family is made of. Now, I'm going to my study for some quiet contemplation, and I will hear no more complaints from any of you.
Good heavens, Teddy. I thought Collinsport would be dull, but not a bit of it. Are things always like this?
Yes, Isabel. More than you might imagine. Perhaps we should have stayed in New York.
What are you doing, girl? Just standing there.
The tables have all been set, Mrs. Summers.
Well, what about the entrance? We can't have the master's guest forming a bad impression of Colin's house.
It's been swept. Twice. Begging your pardon.
We'll see. If it's not done to my satisfaction, you'll be doing it again. The devil will find work for idle hands.
Yes, Mrs. Summers.
Of course, most of the decoration must wait until the rest of the house is finished, but you'll be able to pick out whatever you want. Father would be glad of your advice, especially now Mother is gone.
I'd be happy to help, assuming Mr. Sands lets me.
You mustn't be intimidated by Malachi Sands. He works for us, remember?
Of course. I was forgetting.
Imagine the great hall tomorrow, with all the candles burning and our family around us. The music will be playing, and I'll take you in my arms.
It sounds beautiful.
Laura, what is it? Don't you want to get married?
Of course I do.
Then what's wrong?
Every time I come to Colin's house, I get the strangest feeling. I know I belong, yet somehow, I don't think I'm ever going to live here. Isn't that odd?
It would be odd indeed, if a bride had no anxieties the day before her wedding.
Oh, Joshua, that's not it at all.
Come here. It'll be all right.
You can't promise that.
I can, and I do. Don't worry about you, little bird.
You don't need to. I'm stronger than you realize, and I'm getting stronger every day.
Very well, then. I shall confine my worrying to Abigail, if it would please you better.
Abigail?
She is my sister. For all we fight, I do try to watch out for her. Harkaway's death affected her badly, and now she has this strange obsession with Mrs. Peterson.
People aren't always what they appear to be.
How did Abigail seem this morning?
I haven't seen her all day. Summers said she went out.
She was meant to be helping. Oh, confound that woman, where'd she got to?
Perhaps she went back to the woods, where she used to meet with Abraham.
She wouldn't be that stupid. Surely, not after last time.
Joshua, do you think the times when we are desperate are also when we act out of sorts? Or are they when we are most like ourselves?
I don't know, Laura. Are we still speaking of Abigail?
Perhaps. Does it matter?
Well, for a while I believed Abigail's dalliance with Harkaway to be out of character. Now I wonder if I've ever known her at all. Either way, I find I admire her determination.
Love makes us do all sorts of mad things.
Like getting married? To me?
No, that's not mad at all. In fact, it's about the only thing that still makes sense to me. It's what I want.
Well, I'm glad of it. I want it too.
I can have no other purpose or distraction. Would you excuse me, Joshua? I must go speak to Malachi Sands. There's a matter I feel very strongly about.
Very well. But don't let him bamboozle you. The Collinses are his masters, not vice versa.
I'll remember.
Whatever is on your mind, little bird.
Abraham? Abraham, are you there? I can feel you watching. Joshua and Reverend Cunningham said you were dead. I don't know why they do something so cruel. Oh, Abraham, why won't you show yourself? Whatever you've done, it won't change how I feel. I know we argued last time. I wouldn't listen about the jewels when you said you wanted to talk to Father. I was wrong.
Jewels.
Abraham, you are here.
I have to give you the jewels.
Abraham, what's happened? You're not him. You can't be.
Promise.
No! Stay back!
The jewels.
I would take them if I were you.
You? What do you want?
The family was wondering where you were. I had a notion.
You did this. You raised up this monster.
Abigail.
The elemental said the world was out of joint. Its magic defiled. This is not my doing.
To give.
Don't touch me!
Abigail, take the jewels. Can't you see that's all he wants? That's all that's driving him, holding him back from death.
But I can't. His hands!
These.
Take them.
Oh. Anything to make this end. Oh, Abraham. I'm sorry.
Nothing left but blood and bones. And even that decays. We all return to the ocean in the end.
Mother was right. She said the face of evil must be crushed. I thought she meant some demonic visage. But she was talking about you. For all your pretty smiles, you're a villain just the same.
You're overwrought.
If I am, it's because of you. My lover resurrected, then cast down before me. Can you understand what that's like?
You cannot imagine the things I've seen.
I know what you are. I name you Witch.
Yes, you are right. I am a witch. Huh. It's good to say it. There is a truth in what we are.
I'll tell them. I'll tell them all. Father and Joshua and Uncle Theodore. They will hunt you down and give you the death you deserve.
Go ahead. Tell them. Who do you think will believe you?
Mr. Sands, scrabbling away in the ash. Seems fitting.
I'm making sure the hearthstone is properly level. A craftsman has his pride.
And what artifact do you plan to squirrel away beneath it now your little urn is empty?
You are here, Laura. That's all that matters.
But I'm cold, Malachi. So cold. The only time I feel alive is when I'm by the fire.
You shall be the burning heart of this home. It is your destiny. You know it to be true.
Mr. Sands, my only destiny is to be mistress of Collins' house and wife to Joshua Collins. That is all I seek, nothing less and nothing more.
But if you look into the flame, feel its call, it won't be long now.
No, there shall be no more calls. No matter what you say, whatever I did once, that was enough.
It can never be enough.
Mr. Sands? Laura?
Mr. Collins.
Joshua, I hadn't finished with Mr. Sands.
I'm sorry to interrupt, Laura, but I'm gonna have to drag you away. The guests will be arriving for the ball, and if you want to go back to Anchor House and change, we're running out of time. I should be here to greet them.
But of course you must. It's senseless to rush. Mr. Sands, your wagon is nearby, is it not?
A little way behind the house.
Mr. Sands can drive me back, Joshua. You stay here and do your duty. I can make my grand entrance later.
Well, if you're sure. Mr. Sands?
I am Laura's obedient servant.
Then it's settled. Do watch out for the Stockbridges, Joshua. They're largely resistant to charm.
Duly noted.
Come along, Mr. Sands. There's still things we must discuss.
Good afternoon, Joshua. We've been sent on ahead as reinforcements.
Good to see you, Uncle. I think I'll need all the help I can get.
Josh, tell me, dear heart, this great big house of yours, does it have cellars?
Miles of them, I understand.
And are some of them given over to storing wine?
I believe so.
Do you think I might have a tour as an honored guest?
I think you've had quite enough honor for now, Isabel.
I'm sure something can be arranged.
Later, if you haven't gone for a well-deserved rest.
I like your family, Teddy. I like them a lot. Why are you always so rude about them?
My wagon is along here, Mrs. Stockbridge.
Let us walk a little further. Don't the trees look pretty? You just know they're waiting to burst back into life.
But should we not hurry?
We're not going back to Anchor House.
Mr. Collins was insistent.
We're going nowhere, Malachi, not until you lift my curse.
What curse? You turned back a storm conjured by the witch. You saved the man you're to wed. You should be grateful.
I'm not grateful. I'm not anything. The more the phoenix grows inside me, the more it burns, the less I can bring myself to care.
That is the nature of the phoenix. So very powerful, but so very much alone.
Must I always be like this? Tomorrow when I stand in front of the altar, in front of Joshua, and mouth the words I have to say, will I still be dead inside? And what happens when we have children? Will I love them? Or will they mean nothing to me as well?
You should never have children, not if you want them to live.
What do you mean?
I've told you before. There is only ever one phoenix. When the sacred blood is spread, you will be driven to claim it back.
Claim it back? How can blood be taken back?
A phoenix is compelled to find her children, draw them to her, and consign them to the flame.
I could never do that.
You will, Laura. What could stop you? And more than that, you will enjoy it. You know it to be true.
What have you done to me? You have made me this thing.
You did it yourself.
You will get rid of it. You will take it from me and turn me back into Laura Murdoch Stockbridge.
I cannot.
Then perhaps I can make you. I will not be a creature. I will be Laura Collins. I will marry.
Yes. Yes, at last. There it is. The second call to the flame.
It's dancing in my hands. Twisting. Breathing. A living part of me.
One call remains, Laura. There will be then no turning back. Then you will burn too. Burn forever.
You claim to serve, yet you want me to burn?
Of course. For in the burning is the phoenix's true moment of becoming.
Then burn now, Malachi Sands. Burn. You shall be as ash before me.
Oh! Yes, that's it. Use your power. This is why I was born.
No, Malachi. This is why you will die. And now, witch, you who summoned the storm, you who forced me to become this creature of fire and fury, now I shall come for you.
The graveyard is a place for reflection, contemplating the fine line that separates life from death. For one woman, thoughts of mortality have never been more relevant. As night descends and the Collins family gathers, she must draw on all her strength and power. She must risk everything in the final battle of blood and fire.
Isaac Collins, born Liverpool, England, died Collinsport, Maine. He set down his anchor in a new land. Such a large memorial, and such sentimental words. They think they'll last forever, but they will not. Annabella Collins, Amadeus Collins. Ah, Patience, the inscription freshly cut. Beloved wife of Caleb, and devoted mother to Joshua, Abigail, and Jeremiah. There is space upon the stone for the generations still to come. That's arrogance, too, of a sort.
Good evening. I'm sorry. I did not mean to intrude upon your grief.
Oh, it's no hardship. The Collins family means little to me.
Forgive me, but you don't sound entirely certain.
My mind had turned to Captain Harkaway.
The pirate?
He was determined to join this family through marriage, and now he lies dead.
If you had hoped to pay your respects, I'm sorry to tell you that he does not rest here. It was an unfortunate... Well, I can only assume a loved one claimed the body before it could be laid to ground.
An inspirational man. He kept going despite considerable odds.
You are not the first to fall under his charm. I beg your pardon, but I've seen you at Anchor House, haven't I? You are staying there, are you not, while your husband is at sea?
I have no husband.
Ships are often delayed, especially when travelling far. You must not give up hope.
That's not what I meant.
Then, my condolences. The storm took many.
Oh, enough of these stories. The storm did not claim him because he does not exist. I am alone.
I see. I cannot imagine why you have practiced this deception. But now you have admitted it. You must beg forgiveness.
Why must I?
It's the right thing to do.
Who would you suggest I beg?
The good Lord. God in his heaven. Repent, and he will forgive you.
And what if I'm required to serve a different Lord? A Lord that does not believe in forgiveness. A Lord that will never grant me rest, no matter what I do.
You cannot mean these things you say. They're unholy.
I have no choice. Everything I do is seen. And things are not yet as intended.
Please, Mrs. Peterson, put your knife away. Think where you are.
Be quiet. It is not intended for you.
What are you doing? This is consecrated land.
The blood is symbolic. I'd have thought a priest would understand. The real power lies in the sacrifice. Rise up. Rise up, I command you, O weary revenants of the graveyard. Draw on my magic. Let it stir up ancient bone and rotting flesh. Take all you require. I give it to you freely. Take from me and rise.
What have you done? The ground beneath us trembles and splits.
It is ready to give up its dead. See?
What evil is this?
It is not evil. It is judgment.
So good to see you, Cousin Jacob. Please, go on in. Make yourself at home.
Thank you, Caleb.
Welcome. Welcome to the Great Hall at Collins House.
Good evening. I am Uriah Spencer Stockbridge. This is my good wife, Euphemia.
Charmed, madam.
Likewise, I am sure.
Am I correct, sir, in believing you to be the brother of Laura's late husband?
I am, sir. And I must say, I find this marriage to be rash and undignified.
Well, there I can't agree.
Now, Uriah, we talked about this. You promised.
What Laura wants with some scurvy fisherman still wet behind the ears, I can't imagine.
Let's not be hasty, Mr. Stockbridge.
Oh, why not? Laura was. Well, what is this new fellow like anyway?
Judge for yourself, sir. He stands before you.
Pay no attention to my husband. Travel makes him more than usually ill-humored.
My humor would be less out of fettle if Laura had at least given my poor brother the children she'd promised.
And I suppose he had nothing to do with that?
This is what I love about weddings. A chance for the whole family to come together.
And fight like dogs.
Hush, Teddy. But why don't you show our guests inside?
I suppose that would be tolerable.
You must meet my brother Caleb. He's a man that enjoys a frank exchange of views.
I do hope my husband didn't offend.
Not at all, madam.
If you ask me, young Laura had a lucky escape. All the Stockbridges seem to meet sticky ends sooner or later. Stabbed or trampled or drowned. There's always something.
And does that mean your husband...
I pray it shall be very soon.
Goodness!
It seems Laura was right. She said the Stockbridges would be tricky. I don't know why Mother insisted we invite them.
Oh, don't worry. Teddy will soon warm them up. He knows how to handle awkward customers.
Do you know, I don't think I ever heard how you and my uncle met.
It's a funny story. If you ask Teddy, he'd say we met at the theater. But actually...
Oh, good Lord, Abigail.
What's happened to her?
Let no one be found among you who practices sorcery, interprets omens, engages in witchcraft.
Twigs and branches in her hair, like some mad Ophelia.
Never mind the theatricals. Help me! We can't have people seeing her like this.
Come sit with me, Abigail, dear. Perhaps we can find you a soothing drink.
I don't want a drink. I want the witch to die. Set her ablaze and chop off her head!
What's she talking about?
Cassandra! That harridan did it all. She brewed up the storm in her cauldron. She pushed Mother from the tower. And she made my poor Abraham. Oh.
There. Don't cry, dear. You're still young, reasonably, and very pretty. We can find you someone else. Someone...
He gave me these. He brought them back, all the way from the ocean floor. Look how they sparkle and shine.
We're going to have to get her inside, discreetly. Father isn't going to be happy.
What about my happiness? I shall never be happy again.
Lord preserve us.
One by one,
Lord,
the dead
Lord,
rise
help.
up.
What? So many of them. The graveyard shall be empty.
Face of evil
Must be crushed. That's Patience Collins. I buried her. I laid her to rest.
You clearly didn't do a very good job.
Must be crushed. Must be crushed. Lord.
The dead can be rather monotonous, don't you think?
This is impossible. Oh, Lord, this is wrong. Bodies clothed in worms and scabs. Skin loathsome and festering.
Poor things. There's so very little left inside. The longer they spend below ground, the less there is to reanimate.
Get back!
Just worms and scraps of bone, and the simplest, most basic desires. Revenants, obey the one that summoned you and listen. Do you hear that sound? Where there is music, there is also life. Follow it, go to it. There you shall find warmth. There you will find people, many of them your kin. Tell them of the long years you have spent in the cold ground. Tell them how pleased you are to see them. Hold them close. Then let them feel your wrath for abandoning you forever.
Where are they going? Where have you sent the necromancer?
Why, to Colin's house. And the great ball for Joshua and Laura. I think they'll enjoy a visit from their dear relatives.
The way they lurch and shudder. I must run! Fetch holy water, my Bible! No!
It's the dance of the dead, priest. The dance of the dead.
Thou shalt not suffer a witch to live. Thou shalt not suffer a witch to live.
Yes, dear, we know. You keep saying. Try to be calm. Will you do that for me?
You were right, Joshua. We can't let anyone see her like this. What could possibly have happened?
I can take her back to Anchor House, if that would help. I'll get the maid to put her to bed and look after her.
Yes, I think that might be best.
I'll go ready the carriage.
Thank you, Theodore, for your kindness.
Not at all. What are brothers for?
We must find her. Hunt her down.
Why don't you look at your pretty necklace? All those lovely rubies and gold.
She's been holding those jewels so tightly they've cut into her hand. We haven't been able to persuade her to let go.
That's another thing I don't understand. Where did you get them?
I got them from Abraham.
Plunder, no doubt.
He came back from the dead to give them to me.
Oh, you poor thing.
I don't believe a word of this. I won't. This is not the world I live in.
Please, Abigail, won't you try to take another sip of brandy? I'm sure it would help. I only wish I had a proper sedative.
Where is Cassandra Peterson?
Laura.
Is she here? I would speak with her.
Where have you been? I thought you were going to change.
I am changing, Joshua. It has been happening ever since the storm. I've tried to hold on.
I meant your dress. Where's Malachi Sands? Wasn't he meant to be looking after you?
Mr. Sands has left the building.
I sincerely hope he hasn't. There is still much work for him to do.
He will not be returning. You will have to find another builder.
Well, really, this is outrageous. Reprehensible behavior on his part.
He is not important. It is Cassandra Peterson I want.
The witch. Thou shalt not suffer a witch to live. Do you understand?
Yes, Abigail, I do. I know what has to be done.
Thank you, Laura.
I will deal with her. I promise.
Thank you.
Not you as well, Laura. You can't be caught up in this madness, seeing witches and devils behind every door. What is wrong with this family?
Anything that is wrong has been inflicted upon it. It has crept in like a thief in the night.
Well, there we are in agreement.
Father, be quiet.
Well, really?
Can't you see? This is not about you. I don't think I've ever seen you like this, Laura. What's the matter?
What if I told you I know now that we can never be married? That the risk is too great?
Why would you say that? What risk? Don't you love me anymore?
I remember loving you. In my mind, I can see a picture of us together. I am happy, and you are so proud. But lately, it's like the picture is behind glass, and I can't quite reach it.
Laura, you've got to try.
I am not that person anymore.
Can't you go back to being her? Why do things have to be different?
Sometimes fires get started, and they can never be put out.
There it is! There it is, my army! Colin's house! Descend upon it and do your worst!
I thought we understood each other. I thought we wanted the same things. When did it go wrong?
I told you. The night of the storm.
Why this obsession with the storm? What happened to you that was so terrible? So you ran out into the night, so you caught a fever. I was out on the water fighting to save my men. I'm the one who nearly lost everything.
You cannot know what I lost.
Shut the doors, get them bolted and barred. Don't let anyone in, you understand?
That's Teddy.
No one.
What's going on?
I don't want to alarm you folks, but we're surrounded.
Surrounded? What do you mean surrounded? We're not at war.
I tried to go for the carriage, and that's when they appeared, lurching out of the forest.
Confound it, whom are you referring to, sir?
I wish I knew, because then I'd know how to fight them. I assume you have armaments laid down in one of your secret stashes?
I'm not about to hand out gunpowder at a society ball, sir. It would be unthinkable.
Teddy, what's happening? You're scaring me.
Stubborn as ever, Caleb. Very well. I've had the main door barred, but perhaps it's best to see for yourself. I'm going to open the shutters, but make it quick.
Good Lord! Is it some kind of protest or uprising?
Uprising may be right.
What do they want?
Well, they've not come to wish you and fair Laura their best regards.
What's wrong with them? That awful pallor. Some kind of sickness? It must be an outbreak of the plague.
They don't look well.
Whatever it is, it doesn't make them weak. I saw two of them get their hands on Nicholas, the coachman. They swept him up and spun him around like they were having some kind of mad dance.
That doesn't sound too bad. Dancing is happy, isn't it?
It's not happy, is he? Not happy at all. He's dead.
Dead?
The dancing stopped and it wasn't pleasant. I'm not sure what happened afterwards. I didn't stop to watch.
I feel faint. Teddy, you'd better close the shutters.
Now, Caleb, about those weapons?
You have persuaded me. I'm afraid there are but few. Now, had these fellows arrived when the house was properly opened...
Never mind that. How many's a few?
Merely a brace of rifles. Not enough to arm everyone at the ball.
Must we fight?
I think we have to, Laura. Don't worry, I'll look after you.
Oh, you poor man. It's not the conflict that scares me, it's what it might do to me.
I won't let anything happen. I'll protect you, I promise.
Don't you understand? It's already done. I can feel it starting.
Excuse me. I know you're all being brave and bold, but I have a suggestion. Why don't we run instead?
They're all around the house. Where do you suggest we go? Straight up?
No, straight down.
I don't follow.
Yes, you do. You told me. You said your brother had a secret passage built all the way to the coast.
She's right, you know. We had it tunneled when the foundations were laid in case we ever had to do some covert imports or exports.
I don't know whether to be more impressed with your wife's insight, Theodore, or irritated you can't keep a secret.
Irritation be damned. I just want to kiss her.
Teddy!
Do we have a plan?
Considering the number of aggressors, the size of the party, and the lack of armaments, yes, I believe we do.
Where do we go to access the passage?
There's an entrance from the study off the Grand Hall. I must address our guests.
What do we do with Abigail?
We'll have to carry her. Give me a hand.
Come on, Laura. We must go as well. Let's get out of this madhouse.
Ladies and gentlemen, if I may have your attention. An unfortunate circumstance has arisen. A collection of insurgents has gathered outside the hall, and all indications are they mean to do us harm.
What did I say, Euphemia? I knew it was a bad idea to come.
Oh, Uriah, I should have known never to travel with you.
Ladies and gentlemen, please. There is no need for alarm. Every eventuality has been thought of. If you would follow me, we may yet all leave this place safely. This way, please.
What's that?
It's coming from the main door.
Those creatures must be trying to claw their way in.
Those people, you mean? Unless they've got a battering ram, I think we're safe for now.
Oh, please let me in. I've run all the way from Anchor House and I'm so scared.
That's Cassandra.
Then I'm sorry. She's as good as dead.
You can't mean to ignore her.
I've seen one man torn apart this evening. I'm not going to risk letting those things in.
So scared. Joshua, are you in there? Help me, please.
We have to...
No, don't! Joshua, if you were ever going to listen to me, then listen now. Keep that door locked. Walk away.
There's a woman out there in distress.
Some woman.
I don't understand you, Laura. You were friends with Cassandra.
No longer. Leave her.
Why are you so heartless?
You can't trust her. She is not what you think she is.
Then what are you, Laura? What have you become?
Joshua!
I'm sorry. I have to.
And I'm sorry too, nephew. I can't let you do that.
Goodness! Straight to the jaw and out like a light.
He's the son and heir. Caleb would never forgive me if he got himself killed. Now we've got two of them to deal with. If I carry Joshua, do you think you and Laura can manage Abigail?
I'm game. Laura, where are you going?
To stop this.
Oh, don't be mad. Come back. Laura! Laura!
Well, what do we do now?
I don't like this. It's so dark. How much further, Mrs. Summers?
Oh, I don't know, girl. They didn't tell me there were tunnels built under the new house. Oh, it's most improper.
Damn what's proper, just keep running.
If the Collinses didn't tell you, Mrs. Summers, it's probably because they feared you'd gossip their secrets all over the village.
How dare you, Mrs. Griffin? I'm the very soul of discretion.
Ladies, please. If those ghouls catch us...
What do you think they are, Mr. Loomis?
Why are you asking me, girl? I only know horses.
How I wish you'd stuck to them.
Would you like to come to the bar, Mrs. Griffin? See all the fine ladies and gentlemen, Mrs. Griffin. I'll escort you, Mrs. Griffin. Come along with Alfred Loomis. It'll be nice.
I wasn't even meant to be here. It was my evening off.
Well, at least you had a memorable night.
Oh, when I catch up, I will give you such a wallop.
Now, keep going. Settle your differences later.
If there is a later.
Let me in! Oh, please, please! Open the door!
It's all right, Cassandra. You can drop the act. Hello, witch.
Phoenix.
So, we both know who we are.
Just as you say. And would you mind stepping aside? I have the dead of Collinsport with me, and they're anxious to be reunited with their kinsfolk.
By all means, let them enter.
A very gracious admission of defeat.
I was to be mistress of this house, you know. Caleb Collins was to give it to me and Joshua after our wedding. I suppose it is good to be able to play society hostess for once.
It is not a position you plan to keep?
Not for long. But neither is it going to be given over to you.
This tunnel is so long, and I don't mean to be rude, Teddy, but your niece is getting a little heavy.
Tell you what, why don't I carry Joshua over one shoulder and Abigail over the other? Would that help?
Oh, Theodore, if you wouldn't mind. I don't think I can go much further.
You have such faith in me, don't you, Izzy?
Of course I do, Teddy. I always have.
A little help here, please. We've got the bridegroom and his sister. If you could lend a hand.
Keep going.
Those rats. Why is no one stopping them?
They're too scared.
They're right to me. Those creatures find out where we've gone and try to break into the tunnel.
Oh, Teddy, I think they just did.
We better pray the door holds them, or we're all lost.
Oh, believe me, Laura, any ambitions I may have held to join this family are long since gone.
So you decided to destroy them instead? Doesn't that seem a little petty?
For what it's worth, the decision was not mine. I even struggled against it for a while.
What changed?
I realized that while history might alter, people always remain the same. Even you, Laura, who seemed so innocent, you still turned into the Phoenix, as you were always going to do.
You knew this was going to happen?
Some are born with magic, some acquire magic, and others have magic thrust upon them.
And which of those categories do you believe describes me?
Why, the last, of course. You're the perfect victim, Laura. You light the fire and you sacrifice yourself.
No, that's where you're wrong. I did not have magic thrust upon me. I chose it. Maybe I didn't know the consequences, maybe I did not fully understand, but it was my choice. I said yes to save this family and to save Joshua.
Then I'm sorry for you.
You're sorry? Isn't that arrogant of you, witch? Who are you to judge?
Someone who knows what is to come. You will return to this house, Laura. You will be drawn back. You will marry. You will have a child. And you will take that child with you into the flames.
No, I shall not marry Joshua, so there can be no child. It will not happen. It cannot.
Not in this lifetime, perhaps. But in the lives to come, the same story will be told over and over. The twin call of blood and fire will prove too strong for you to resist.
You cannot know these things.
But I do. I know the Collins family almost as well as I know myself. I know their every darkness, the pain and suffering they cause, without even trying. I know what must happen.
Then perhaps this must happen too. The third call to the flame.
Look, Uriah. It's that sweet girl Isabel and her husband. Well, we must help them.
We must help ourselves.
It's our duty.
I didn't come to this wedding to be dutiful.
No, you came to be a misery, and you succeeded. Isabel! Isabel, are you all right?
Oh, thank goodness. I'm about to drop.
Don't worry, we're here. Uriah, lend a hand at once.
If I must.
Thank you. We're much obliged.
Not at all.
I'm afraid Laura's still back there in Collins' house.
Oh, the poor girl, why didn't she run?
Once Joshua's safe, I'll go back.
Daddy, I can smell the sea. I'm sure of it. We must be getting closer to the beach.
You say you know the Collins darkness, witch.
I do. Only too well.
Well, I know their light. I know their love, their passion, their resolve. A family like that survives because they're strong. No, not a family like that. A family like mine.
What are you doing?
What I must in order to save them. I think this hall will burn rather nicely, don't you?
No!
All these fine rugs and wall hangings will make such pretty ash. And as for these sad, shambling piles of dead bone, they will make rather fine kindling, don't you think?
Please! Please, no more!
And the beams and timbers of this house, all shall burn. All shall become one great funeral pyre.
I beg you, don't do it! Don't make the same mistakes I did. Don't die for them, Laura.
Are you not going to fight back? How disappointing.
I cannot. Raising the dead took all my power. No! Ah! If you burn Colin's house, you will destroy yourself. You will die, Laura.
What does that matter? There is nothing so terrible about death. I am certain of it. A phoenix would know.
Look up! Above Colin's house.
It looks like a bird. The image of a huge, fiery bird.
It can't be. It's just flames and smoke making shapes in the sky.
Oh, it's fading. How sad. Like something's leaving us.
My house. My great work. There will be nothing left of it. Nothing to bear my name.
You have sons and a daughter. Jeremiah is safe at Anchor House. Joshua and Abigail will recover in time.
And what about young Laura?
I don't understand why she stayed. I should have gone
Don't
back.
blame yourself. We did the best we could.
What will my Joshua do without her?
He will go on. We will all go on. We must.
You're right. We must begin again. We can't let this stop us.
We are Collins, after all.
And so you return to Hell's waiting room, Angelique. You have failed.
I did my best, Dark Lord.
Then let us look into the glass of time, glance across the years, and see what your best has achieved.
But what am I to set down if the good lady's body was never found? There must be a record, you understand.
Write that Laura Murdoch Stockbridge died, most tragically, when a candle fell against a drape in the bedchamber.
No more than that?
No more than that. It is sufficient.
That's it, Mr. Collins, sir. The last of the rubble cleared. I thought you'd want to know.
So be it. Building shall start tomorrow.
I can't believe you mean to begin again. Not after all we went through. Not after Laura.
I insist on it, sir. And what's more, this time you shall be master.
Me? What makes you think I want to build a house?
For the future. It was never meant to be a tomb, but it could be a memorial if you wish it.
I don't think I could raise Colin's house a second time.
Then don't. Name it anew. Make it your own.
What should I call it?
There was some notion your mother had. Some pretty name she mentioned for a house nestled among the trees. What was it again? Ah, yes. Collinwood.
Collinwood?
Build it, my son, and from the ashes of the old shall come something new.
I'm so sorry. I seem to have trodden on your cloak, Miss...
Naomi, and you will be sorry. It's brand new. Why would I want your muddy boots trampling all over it?
I assure you, it was quite unintentional. Your cloak was trailing, and I tripped, and... However can I make it up to you?
I don't imagine you can. But I might allow you to try.
My dear, sweet Naomi. I believe I'm the happiest man alive. I don't think I've ever loved someone more than you.
Oh, tush, Joshua. How many women have you said that to?
Only you, Naomi. Only you.
Naomi, I have something for you. A little present on the occasion of your wedding to Joshua.
But Abigail, these are sublime. I've never seen such sparkle. They must be very precious. You sure you want me to have them?
Yes. Yes, I'm certain. They belong to someone dear. But I have no need for beautiful things now. For me, their fire has gone out.
Abigail.
Quietly now, Father is resting.
How is he today?
He keeps talking of the day of the blaze. About that great bird he once thought he saw over the ruins of Colin's house.
He shouldn't upset himself.
He's not upset. He's decided it's a sign. That it means Collinwood shall last.
There was no bird. There was nothing but fire and dark shadows. But if he chooses to remember it like that, I suppose we must let him.
Why did you want to see Father anyway?
Abigail, I have such wonderful news. Naomi's child is born. Father has a grandson at last.
And that means you have a son.
Well, yes. Yes, I suppose I do. He's so small. I never thought he'd be that small.
It is the way with babies.
So innocent. And wise-looking, don't you think?
Very wise. What are we going to call him?
I think we'll call him... We'll call him... We'll call him... We'll call him... We'll call him...
Barnabas. The child's name shall be Barnabas Collins.
With the birth of Barnabas, the future of the Collinses is assured.
He will be very determined and ingenious. Oh, and handsome and proud.
You have failed.
Yes, I failed. For Barnabas is born, and I changed nothing, and all my magic is gone. It would seem we are always destined to be together, he and I.
You do not sound repentant, Angelique.
Don't I? Perhaps I don't have any repentance in me.
Can it be you wanted this? You wanted Colin's house to burn and Laura to die? You would not dare to so defy me. I cast you out. Be gone from my sight. You will leave this place. You will leave me.
And finally, I will be free.
Oh, this will not be your final fate. That particular path is still for me to decide.
Where am I? No. I'm back at the mine. Back in Collinsport. Back in a world of temptation. Oh, but no, I will not yield. I hereby vow to turn my back on magic. I know of a house where I can be alone. A house in the woods. My own private Collinwood.
Dark Shadows is a Big Finish production.
Coming soon from Big Finish Productions.
Amy Jennings.
David?
Amy, will you marry me?
David? I thought you'd never ask.
Dark Shadows. Bloodline.
Audible hopes you've enjoyed this program.